Hello and welcome back to the Uncensored Mothers podcast. I'm Aireen Joy and I'm here with my co-host Marie-Laure, and we have a special episode today. It is just us two. No special guests today. You have your host today, and we're going to be a little uncensored and talking about some really hard taboos. We're talking about taboos around special dates and about significant events and dates. I know, Marie, July is hard. Like March is my hard month, July is your hard month. And there's a lot of beautiful moments that happen in July for you personally, as well as really hard moments. So that's what our episode is going to be talking about today. It is a little shorter, but Marie, this month is hard. So I wanted to open the floor for you and kind of, I guess, open the conversation as to why it's hard.
Right. And it's like focusing on like finding out bad news on special dates, and had to deal with that. My love story started in July. So that's why July is such so difficult. It also happens to be my husband and I's birthday month. So it's like our birthday month is now overshadowed with all the sadness and the grief. And the last happy photo that we have together while I was pregnant was on his birthday. That was, and he was 20 and COVID. So we had like very, very few photos. Like you didn't have reasons to take photos, right? You were just home. You weren't doing anything. And so it was his birthday. We went out to his mom's house where, we were outside and we took like
social distance.
Social distance photos. And it was like, oh, it's his birthday. We're going to someone's house. Like, let's get dressed and let's put on some makeup and look nice. Like the rest of the time I didn't do that. So I have very few photos of me pregnant, and that's one of them. And it just happens to be like my last one. And July starts and his birthday is on the 5th. So it's like right at the beginning of the month, I'm like, and here is the last happy time. And everything happens at the end of the month. She died on the 30th of July. I was diagnosed on the 20th of July. So it's like this dagger over my head, like for the whole month. It was like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And 20th of July, at 24 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia. She was diagnosed with severe future. She was diagnosed with IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction. The day the world changed forever for us. And the 19th, the night before, I remember being on the phone with a friend. And it's funny how you relive everything, right? It's like the 19th, it was a Sunday. And I was like, oh, I remember being on the phone with this friend talking about my ultrasound the next day. And we knew Juliet was small. And she was 8th percentile. And she asked me, how do you feel about the ultrasound coming up? And I told her, it's like, oh, I feel fine. I was starting to feel her moves. I was like, I'm sure she'll be in the 15th percentile. And I don't know why I was so sure everything would be fine. Everything would be okay. And of course, the next day, nothing was fine. Nothing was okay. We found out, she was in the 1st percentile and she was measuring 3 weeks behind. So once they sent me to the hospital to be put some more evaluation because they were seeing things on my placenta that wasn't looking good. The blood flow started reversing, or like it was intermittent. It was not reversing, it was intermittent. So it would stop and go, stop and go. So she wasn't getting much oxygen and blood. And you get to the hospital, and I knew something was wrong when we left that ultrasound. I kept on crying and crying. I was like, this is not.
Gut knew, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's this craziest thing because during the ultrasound, someone came into the room. So I don't know if your ultrasound looks the same for everyone, but ours, when we get them done, when they take measurements, you can see like based on measurements, the gestational age.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember I was 24 weeks. I remember seeing 21. And I was like, oh, that's not, something in my head was like, oh, that's not good, but I don't know anything.
Right.
So like that's my
you for first pregnancy, right? So
right. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's we knew she was small, so and someone else came in and took some measurements, and that didn't even raise any flags to me. Like I wasn't even like, ooh, someone else comes in, it's not a good sign. Like I was just like, okay, someone else is here, like whatever. But it's when we waited in the room and it was taking a long time for them to come back that's when I started being like, there's something going on. And I remember telling Brett, my husband, if we get bad news, can you take the day off? And in my head, bad news was just something was not right, but we would deal with it and it would be okay in the end. You might be like, oh, we'll have extra monitoring or, there was never my daughter could die. It was like a small bad news. And when they told us to go to the hospital, then I was like, no, yeah, there must be something bigger. Like, and that's when I
Your
went to
scenario, sorry, Marie. So going back really quick. So your worst case scenario in your head in that moment was like, worst case scenarios like, okay, I just have extra appointments or I have to take an extra vitamin or something, right? Or
something that would work out in the end. Something that would be like, oh, it may be annoying, maybe more monitoring, maybe she's a small baby and that's something that will go in her life. I don't know. Like, never did I imagine it could be like your daughter is going to die.
see,
Never did I think that because it's just after miscarriages, I've had read stories of stillbirth. I knew about TFMR in the sense of if something's wrong with the baby, you can get a TFMR, a termination for medical reason, always for the baby. I knew that for the baby. And
right.
I had read stories of stillbirth, but it just felt like so
Like it was like distant.
regular. So, and that's something I think we all say, and we can't think it can only happen to others. And I just thought that's something that happens to other people, and it's just foreign, right? So in my head, yeah, I didn't think she would die. And we went to triage and they took my blood pressure. It was high. And I remember texting with my sister and I was like, oh, they say preeclampsia, that it could be preeclampsia at this point. It was a nurse. And she was texting me back. My sister is 5 years older than me. She has 3 daughters. She had plenty of friends that had kids. And she was like, preeclampsia, they'll give you some medicine. You'll go home. They'll monitor you from home. You'll have more appointments. Like, it was very like, oh, it's
No
fine.
big
Okay. Like I had friends who had it, extra monitoring. It'll be okay. And in some cases with preeclampsia, like you have extra appointments and you can be monitored from home. I think it depends on the severity, but mine was very severe.
yeah.
And she was also impacted because of the placenta not working properly. So we went into I was admitted to the hospital and then you start getting, the bad news. And it's like the OB team comes in and you have preeclampsia. You're not leaving this hospital pregnant. We hope you can stay pregnant 10 days, but it's not looking like you will. But not 10 days, 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Until 34 weeks. And then you'll be induced to a C-section. But it's not looking very promising. But with medication, let's see. It was a very we can see. And then the pediatric team comes in and then your baby is very small. If she were born today, she would probably not survive. She is, at the time they thought she was maybe 16 ounces, so a pound. We were at a level 4 NICU. So like the highest level, this is where we want to be. This is like a top hospital in the country. If something happens, this is where you want to be.
Right.
And they would tell me like they may not have tubes small enough for her. And then, studied all if she can't, if she's born today, if she makes it out of the delivery room, if it's a big if, then she may never be able to walk, talk, go to the bathroom, eat, everything that's pretty basic to have a comfortable life. And even it was like, this is, if she's born and she makes it out of the birthing suite, it's going to be long. So it's, even for her at the end to maybe not be able to have all these functions, maybe very sick, and you hear all of this and it just doesn't, like, the world ended in that moment, right? And so the first night was very difficult. I remember hearing like the baby crying.
Gosh. And something had you on the same floor.
Yeah, I was in labor and delivery.
Jeez Louise, like
You had those babies crying and knowing that I would never hear my daughter cry. So that was and that was a trigger. Newborn cries were a trigger for a very long time. I remember being a year later, being in a grocery store in France and hearing this newborn crying. And I was with my family at the grocery store and then everybody was kind of like in different places. And not like I could just leave. And I just remember going like automatic pilot, going to the frozen section. because the noise of the freezers
The
would
fan.
drown that a little bit. Because I was just like, I can't be here. I can't. It takes you right back. Like, so yeah, that was really difficult and a very, very difficult night, you know. I remember promising Juliet, like, we will fight this together. It's a mother-daughter story. We'll survive this somehow. Like, I believe in it. And the next day, I was the medication. I was doing better. But when OBGYN from the hospital, that was like, oh, probably need to do a C-section. And you're elected to put your daughter in the NICU. So we're going to do C-section. And I was like, what? We didn't decide anything. Like, what is going on? And because when I came into the hospital, they made me sign papers. And it's like for a surgery in case we need it, and you sign. And the NICU in case you need it, and you sign. Because you don't know. They give you paper, you don't know, you sign. And could I have read them better? Yeah, sure. My world just shattered. Like, I'm not going to read papers very carefully.
Right.
And so, yeah, because I signed that paper, it was like, oh yeah, if we need to do a C-section, it was like, we didn't decide anything. And I asked to talk to a pediatrician. I was like, we need to understand what's going on with my daughter. We need to understand our options. We need to understand her health, like her care. What, as parents, we want to make the most informed decision possible about her life. And this is when like a pediatric fellow came, and she's the most amazing doctor. She sat with us, and she told us again what had been said. And she sat with us for like an hour, and she was holding my hand, and she was saying like the nicest things about Juliet hearing my heartbeat from the inside. She was like, she's the only person in the world that has heard that. You'll always be her mother. And it was just very precious, very simple in a way things, but very important things to say. We talked and talked and talked, and we came to the conclusion that we didn't want her to suffer. We didn't want her to know pain. In my heart, I was like, if she lives for 5 minutes, she should live cuddled and loved by her parents, and not hooked and probed and by doctors. And I kept thinking, I don't want her to be cold.
Right.
And it's like such a silly thing, because I'm sure there's NICU that not cold, but that's the only thing I could think about. I was like, I don't want her to be cold. And so it's like, out of so much love, we made that decision with that doctor. And that let me stay pregnant for an extra week, because I was doing fine. And they're like, you're doing better. Let's wait and see. And we had so much hope for a week, so much hope. I was doing better. And then on my birthday, a week later, we had an ultrasound. And I started the day thinking, things were fine. She was doing good. We were doing non-stress tests, and she was having a hard time meeting the expectations, but she was a 25-week baby. She's a 25-week baby, so you can't expect her to do what a 30+ week baby would do, right? And I remember one nurse, like, the residents, they were like, oh, she needs to do this and that. And the nurses were like, it's like asking a preschooler to do high school, like, test. Like, and the nurse, I mean, that's when, like, nurses are amazing, because they knew so much, and they really advocated for us. And they were like, do not worry about this. Like, she's doing great. And so we went into the ultrasound. It's my birthday. I'm like, oh, well, that's a nice little birthday gift, so naive. It's a nice little birthday gift. We're going to see her, and we'll get some pictures. And during the ultrasound, they did biophysical? And
where they do the full like scan.
Yeah, they look for breathing, and they look for swallowing. They look for like different things, and she did it all.
Wow.
She did it all. All the things she was struggling to do the day before, she did everything. And so we were like, oh, that's amazing. She's doing so well. She did everything she was supposed to do. So we felt pretty reassured. And then comes the chief resident, or someone in the hospital, in the OB. He wasn't an attending, and he came and he gives us the results. And he's like, the main one was that the blood flow had started reversing. So I'm not 100% sure what that means, but it's basically that the blood flow was going back to the placenta, and she was not getting what she needed, which meant that, it was a matter of days for her. And that was just showing she was not doing well. I wasn't doing well. I was getting more swollen. They were still able to manage my blood pressure with the medication, but there were other signs that showed that things weren't good. So we waited all day for my doctor to come. She has her own practice, so she comes to the hospital afterwards, and we knew after talking to the doctor, we knew it wasn't gonna be good. And it was my birthday, and it was like the weirdest thing because the day before I had shared with people that we were in the hospital.
Oh gosh.
And that I had preeclampsia, and so people knew, but we're still getting, the birthday messages. Happy birthday! Hope it's a fantastic day, or we're thinking of you and hoping everything is fine, or all the birthday wishes. My mother-in-law, she brought in a cake to the hospital.
That's hard.
She just wanted to. She knows I love my birthday. And that's like another thing. Like, I love my birthday. It's like nothing bad happens on your birthday. I have a summer birthday like you, right? So we never have a test on our birthday. We never have, like, right. You're on vacation, it's summer, like, nothing bad really typically happens. When I started working, I would take the day off, on my birthday. So it's not like I had a bad meeting or something. So it was really like the first time. It's like my birthday sucks. And my mother-in-law wanted, try to cheer us up. She brought a cake that we never ate. We gave it to the nursing staff. We're like, enjoy. Like, we don't have the heart to eat a birthday cake. And they appreciated it.
Sure.
Yeah, it was just this very weird disconnect of everyone wishing you a happy birthday, nice messages, cheerful messages, and you're like, your world just
Shattered.
again, it shattered a week before, and now it's like, again, I don't know, there's no putting those pieces back together. It's over.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, Mama.
So, yeah, it was, and then my OBGYN finally came with this fellow, this doctor, and we talked, and she told me, your health is not getting better. I'm very worried about the preeclampsia progressing and becoming more dangerous for you. The fact that the blood flow is reversing, like, that is just you could die anytime. There's no staying pregnant. There is no, and we're back again to, the question was never her life or my life. And sometimes people, I think, have this misconception of like, oh, the life of the mother or the life of the baby. It was never like this. We were two patients. There was me and my baby, and they were trying to make sure both of us live. But the reality was, are we going to have one death? Or are we going to have two deaths? And they were like, there's one we can't really prevent. And as parents, we made the decision that we wanted to do hospice care and comfort care for our baby. And so sadly, tragically, like, she was going to die. We knew that, but they were trying to not let me die too. So that's the conversations, you have on your birthday is your health is getting worse. She's also suffering. Like, she's not doing well either. And my doctor said, today's your birthday. I don't want you to be induced today. I don't want that. I don't want you to be induced on your birthday. So we'll wait till tomorrow. So we waited for the next day. And in a way, I'm kind of grateful for that, because it's like, how do we, when you have these bad news on such a special date, it's like, how do you live moving forward? How do you live with that? And the first year, July 27th is my birthday, and for our first birthday, July the 30th, I was like, I need to be out of St. Louis. I need to be anywhere but here. We need to go on vacation somewhere. Like, I cannot be near this hospital. And so we went to Florida, and we really tried, both of us, to like make my birthday about me, making sure, we can still be sad. Of course, like, we were, and it was hard, but it was very much like, what do I want to do? How do I celebrate? And I think we did a pretty good job to, like, we were at the beach. I mean, what do? You go to the beach, you go get a drink. What really hit me was the next day, on the 28th of July. That was the day it was induced. And
Right.
a year later that day, I was just not able to get up. Like, we spent the day in bed.
Yeah.
It was just like, and I didn't understand right now. I was like, why am I so tired? Why can't I not do anything today? Why can't I don't want to move? And it's like, yeah, because that's the day I was induced, and that's such a hard day because we knew it's like it felt I was going to my execution, like she was going to die, and
Your body
it
knows,
was,
Mom.
and
Your
I was
body remembers that trauma years later.
for sure. I mean, it's like I was asked to play a part in it. She was gonna die, and I had to do giving birth to her was gonna kill her, and that's impossible to do. That how is we supposed to give birth? We're supposed to give life.
Mm. I think these dates are hard because you expect so much joy and amazing positive things to happen out of it, right? And the most traumatic thing happens, and you're like, okay, well, that is not how I expected that to go. That's great for me. Now, how to pick up the pieces and move on with this trauma and move forward, right? And like you were saying, Marie, oh my God. And like you remind me of so much of like trauma that I put aside in like therapy, and it like got brought back up to the surface, and I'm like, wow, I didn't like with Leigh, because that was their birthdays are almost a year to the day apart. So I remember too, like having those conversations, right, with the NICU team or with the PEDS team. And they're like, yeah, you're in early labor. You might be having your 32 weeks, and this is what that looks like, or 31 weeks. That's what it looks like. And I'm like, crap, why do I have to be having these conversations, right? But again, you have those conversations when you're like, your body remembers these things. This trauma gets re-brought up. You're remember that, and you can be in the Bahamas and remember it, and it's like it still sucks because you have to deal with that trauma, right? Like you're in Florida, and it's God, Marie, like, and I can't even imagine like to for your husband, because I had a different experience, right, with my whole situation after Laylee, and then I had Leia right after. So I don't know what a vacation's like, to be honest. But like I couldn't imagine like for your husband too. And I want to point this out because it's like we talk a lot about the moms, but then the dads going through that and then having to support you on your birthday. Like, geez, how did he handle that?
Right. And it's like we try to be like, let's not be sad on my birthday, but it's a hard week for everybody. It's a hard time for everyone. Like, yeah, and wanting my birthday, trying to make it a point, like I want this to be special. Like, don't be sad. And I say that I'm not in a family, like we're not, it's like, if you want to be sad, be sad. But I think I was like trying so hard. And, and it's 6 years later and it's still impacting me. Like my birthday has not felt the same. I still struggle deciding what I want to do on my birthday. I still like, because it's tainted. Because we're talking about birth trauma, right? I mean, this is not just like something that sucks and let's move on, right? It's like, oh, 1 year I wanted to go, I don't know, climb ropes or whatever, and I broke my arm and I get to do it. It's very different because it's every year. I'm like, from July sucks, and it's your birthday month, and you should be excited. And it's summer, you should be. I feel like, and lots of expectations too. I think and so I've been struggling for 6 years. Like, what do we do on my birthday? And part of me is like, I don't want to do anything. And another part of me is like, no, I want to celebrate. And it's like, which one is gonna win,
I feel that.
So, and maybe we're getting older too. But I'm someone who loves throwing parties. I love like I love celebrating things. I think anything is worth celebrating. I think we should always find the time to celebrate and our achievements. After your baby dies, I feel like you realize like, wow, getting older is a privilege.
Yes.
I got really sick and I could have died. And it's like me being here is such a miracle. Like that I think it's worth celebrating, but it's hard. And I was saying, Brad, saying like this year, all I want is a dinner somewhere with my family, with my children and my husband. And again, it's very much tied into the grief because I'm like, because that's where 6 years ago, I didn't think I would have that.
Yeah.
And now I have it. I have the children. One is always missing, but I have two others, and that's a blessing. And that was a lot of hard work for them to get here. So it's like, I kind of want to celebrate that. And my family, I want to celebrate my family. But again, it's tied into the grief. Like, I could have just thrown a big party. Everybody gets drunk and I say that like we don't do that anymore, but it's just like I don't know. I've been a theme park. When I turned 29, I had a roaring 20s party that was at a restaurant and it was really fun and everybody was dressed up and I could have done something fun. And yeah, it's hard to like it's like right in the middle of that grief storm.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Like, I think it's not just like your birthday and your month. I think like, cause my birthday is the 20th, right? So I had a really hard time this year thinking, okay, what do I actually want to do? And so like you, I just now I see birthdays or big celebrations, holidays as this is a time to gather because we don't get to gather with everyone. So let's honor that and let's be present because going through loss and going through grief that we've gone through, right? We understand what it's like to not, especially during COVID, we understand what it's like not to have people present when you need them the most.
Right.
And we've gone through really traumatic experiences that, people who have gone through miscarriage and stillbirth don't have that extra layer. So I think for us, Marie, we get it on a deeper level because we're like, screw it. We're going to do what we want to do, however we want to honor ourselves. And I think that's the point. You got to just honor yourself where you're at. And that's okay. Like this year, I wanted to go bowling. Girl, I hate bowling. Hate bowling. If anyone knows me, I hate two things, ice skating and bowling. And guess what? I did one of the things I hate this year.
Wow.
Why? Because I wanted to do something that my family, my significant other and his mom and everyone on his family wanted to do, what my daughter wanted to do, what friends, what everyone else wanted to do. Like, I didn't want to go to the beach on my birthday, on my actual birthday. I've been in a really bad, I've been feeling really sick and really terrible. But guess what? I went because my best friend's like, I want to do something on your birthday. And I'm like, okay. And my best friend is going to listen to this. So yeah, Chelsea, I did not want to go to the beach, but I did it for you. Love you. But yes, I don't do it for anyone else or for me. I do it for everyone else. I don't do things
Like
now
you're
because
such your mom. Like that's such a mom thing to do. It's like on your birthday, you do what everybody else wants to do because it's just what we do, right? We like, oh, that will make you happy. And I mean, I'm sure if you had like a strong opinion on like what you wanted to do, you would, I hope you would have honored that. But
for
it's
sure,
like,
like
if you
I
don't
want to
know,
go.
you're like, okay, the kid wants to do this. Let's do that.
Right, right. And I honestly, I did a lot of things that I was like feeling like a kid. Like I got a McDonald's Happy Meal. I went to a concert with one of my favorite middle school R&B artists, Ashanti, But again, I've kind of felt like I was forced to do something for my birthday. I didn't want to. But again, we are still griefy moms. We are lost moms and we are moms to babies on earth and we still have responsibilities and to honor where we are at and what everyone else wants to do.
Hey, and I think you don't have to have bad news on a special day for that special day to still be hard.
It can
Because
be.
it's like birthdays are different during grief. Like holidays are different. Christmas, Mother's Day, Valentine, I don't know, whatever holiday you attach a lot of importance to. If it's Halloween, I mean, Halloween, like missing someone's in a costume. If you gather with your whole family and have some tradition on Thanksgiving, that can be feeling hard to. I mean, any holiday that you attach any importance to, it's going to
There's
be
so much. And we tie the grief into it, right? So it's like, let's just honor that grief in the presence and let's love that.
right. And now with the time and pretty early on, but I'm a Leo, she's a Leo. The three of for 3 years, it was just the three of us, my husband, Juliet, and I. All three of us born in July. Like it felt very special. And then Theo, our second, our first son, was born on the 27th of March. And he turned 4 months on my birthday. And it just felt like I felt like, yeah, I feel her in everything, right? I don't have to look hard to see Simon. I was like, she wanted me to have, like, to kind of find some softness on that day. Because it's like, oh, instead of thinking like the bad news, I was getting excited. I'm like, Teo is going to be 4 months. That's fun. On my birthday, we share that day. It's very nice. And yeah, so it's just like a special thing. And that we have and enjoy, it's like for the longest time, Jada and I share a lot of things. Like we share a birthday week. We share Like it's special, and I try to see it as like a little special bond that we have. And yeah, I just made me think like I like science and but I'm also very like practical and very like down to like science and hard evidence. And yet I had a friend who does Reiki, and she did like some Reiki on me, and she was like, I see Juliet as this old soul, and you and her connected as you when you were souls, and you made that agreement of what
Mhm.
happened. And I'm like, part of me is like, that's very sweet, and that we like have this deep connection, but part of me is like, well, what a dumbass for doing this. Like, what kind of stupid agreement is this? Like, I never agreed to that. Like, what the hell is going on? What is this soul thing? Like, what is going on here? I consciously, I did not agree to that. It's like, so
My
yeah,
God. You
I
crazy.
don't want to offend anyone who's like,
I
really,
laugh because I'm a yogi, remember? So I know Reiki healing really well, and I've never heard it like that. It's so funny because it's true. You're like, I don't know what the heck I signed up for, but this like energy thing, voodoo.
right. And in a way, like, I like it, but I'm like, my rational brain is like, alert, alert, alert. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, but then I'm like, you know what? It doesn't hurt anything to fake. Like, on a good day, I'm like, yeah, we still connected, her and I. Like, and on a bad day, I'm like, what the hell? Like, why, what is this? Are they trying to make me feel better by saying?
My
And I
God.
think I would say this as someone who's very rational, although I do like my little sign. But anyways, I think it's how you tell somebody this type of like it's how you carry the message. And the person did a really good job, like, and I know she's a bit woo woo at out there, and she's an amazing person. And she has a way of sharing it that like, yeah, okay, with some authority. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, I see that. I can already see that. But I actually had someone else that I didn't trust because I didn't know tell me something similar, like, oh, her soul, and she said it more like her soul wanted to learn something. And I felt like I was being used.
No, like the energy behind it, and
Like,
yeah,
I was like, so there's this random soul that wanted to learn something. So now I'm suffering for a lesson. Like,
no.
what is, but so I think it's like how you deliver the message. Like if it's done in a caring, fun, empathy way. And I was like, oh, okay, I can hear this. But when it was done in like I don't know you. Someone was using me. What? And then it makes my daughter seems like she was not a good person using me as a vessel for a lesson. Like, I don't know. Like,
See, and that's the thing too, like, because we're so public online with our stories of our losses too. Like, I've had some weirdos message me like, "Yeah, you totally had that coming to you," and I'm like, "Says RS007, whatever, random, doesn't even have a profile picture." Okay,
it's
buddy.
might be a man. Yeah, like, so is
For
man.
sure. I totally had it coming. Yeah. But no, like signs are so true. I know we joke about this that our daughters are always playing together in heaven and keep each other company or, up in the clouds. I totally am just like, there's such a thing in signs. There's a book called Signs that I've read. If anyone is into spirituality, I highly recommend it. I'll drop it in the caption. I totally think like our journeys and our daughters are meant to intertwine because Theo's birthday is March 27th, right? So that's the day before Laylee's birthday, right? So, and I think it's interesting that like our kids are in, you know what I'm saying? Like it's opposite timelines, but then very similar. I think we have to remember, like as moms, like people come into our lives for a reason or a season, and and I know for us, like our babies are not alone, like their souls are not alone, and I think that's something too that is really comforting for me as a mom. And being very spiritual because I know she's not alone. I know I say like she's like my angel baby. I know not everyone says that. I call Leia my rainbow baby. But again, it's coming back to everything has a presence. Everything I'm not saying everything happens for a reason. I think that there's energy behind good people, good intentions, things are aligning on timelines for a certain reason. And so it really just brings me comfort, Marie, that like I know like our daughters are not alone in a sense.
No, it's reassuring. It's very reassuring. And I don't know why I put a lot of importance in dates. And like you say, like, and I found out too was when I was pregnant with two, oh, what would have been my grandfather's 100th birthday. And
Okay.
and I'm
Huh.
like, it's like I was very, very close to this grandpa, and it was very special, and until was born 100 years after my grandmother. Um and it just felt like special. It just feel like this is even the date of Aloise's birthday kind of matches with my husband's birthday, and it's kind of like, oh, that is really special. Like all three of our children have their birthday, have kind of like a part of it, make it significant with our birthdays. And yeah, I'm very dates. I don't know why they have like this powerful thing for me. Like, don't know if it's numbers or I would, but like I see signs and little signs in there. And yeah, and I do think, like as you said, it's very comforting to know like our children. That's where I was getting at. Like I always thought Juliet was not alone; she was being taken care of by my grandparents that passed on, who died several years ago, and they taking care of her. And I always like to imagine her with them. And yeah, and it's like every lost mom that comes along my way, I feel like it's her. Like she's just being like, hey mom, you need this person. And being online and open about relation stories. Like I think I know I've met a lot of incredible people who share their own story, who may not be public like we are, but who have shared with me and become really good friends. And I mean, one person, I saw her story. Her daughter died in October 2020, and I saw her story on Reddit, on the subreddit for baby loss. And I remember going to that subreddit the night of my birthday, as I was like trying to figure out like what's coming up for me, like after tomorrow, after this induction, what will my life look like? What is it to be a parent to a dead baby? What is that? So I started like reading stories and feeling a bit better because I wasn't alone. Feeling like, okay, they still honor the baby. They in a lot of pain, and people allow them to be in a lot of pain. It's legitimate pain. And then I saw this person. She had a specific name, and I read her story, and I could tell she was very distressed. And then I found her on Instagram, just randomly, like her profile popped up. And so I looked at it, and I was like, oh, that sounds familiar, the story. And I was like, because I don't know, her story like grabbed me, and I reached out to her, and I was like, this is gonna sound very weird, but I read your story on Reddit and your daughter and how much you love her, and the connection, like this connection. And so I was like, I lost my baby, and let's just, if you ever want to chat, you know, the door's open because I'm also struggling. And we've been friends ever since. Like she's one of my really good friends. We live in two different continents. She's in Europe, I'm in the US. And when I go visit family in France, we've met in person.
That's amazing.
And every time we've gone back to France to visit family, we've met with them. And now they have a living daughter, and Theo played with her. And it was so adorable, and how far we've come and how much we've supported each other. And it's just like these French, I mean, you and I met online. It's like this friendship in that community is huge.
It is, yeah. I know. I think of one mama that when I lost Laylee, I like shared my story. I shared more once Leia was born. Like for me, it was really hard to share my story quite often, especially because like my community here in San Diego was like it hit a lot of people hard because a lot of people knew me and in the area that I'm from in San Diego, and it was hard. And I met this one really sweet mama it was in the UK, and then a mom messaged me like immediately after ICP Care published one of my stories about my journey, and she messaged me and she was like, I thank you for sharing what you said because I didn't have the words to say it, and what you went through with Laylee is literally what I went through with my baby. And so thank you for doing that. Now she's a mama to two amazing babies, and so it's just I haven't met her in person, but I do message her and I keep in touch. She made, I don't, is it here? My gosh. She like made me this little like, oh my gosh, it's right here. It's like the cutest little thing. So she like hand makes
Oh, wow.
these, this pottery. So she like made it and sent it to my school when I was still in administration of the school. And so she mailed it to my school like a year and a half ago. And so we still keep in touch, but it's like, it's like those little connections, right, Marie? Like
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
important we have those because like I think for us as lost moms, it keeps us grounded. So I really wish that we like there was like one community though, like for moms like us. I'm like, should we just start that? Because I think I don't know. For me, the one thing I've been struggling with like significant dates, if I can be honest, is like feeling safe to let other people know why it's a significant date to me or why it's a hard day without feeling judged. Because like with Lily's birthday, I take it off every day. Like I do nothing. Like I don't work. I don't do anything on March 28th, right? So, but it's been hard to like have to explain that to my employers, to bosses, and then crying in their office or like trying to hold back the tear. You know what I'm saying, Maria?
Right,
And then I'm
right.
stupid.
We were talking about this offline, right? When I said I'm scheduled to go back to work on Juliet's birthday.
But
Like
yeah,
my leave ends on her birthday. And when I was looking at my FMLA and everything, I saw it could be on her birthday, and I was like, oh no. And I immediately talked to like my bosses. I'm like, I can't go to work, like come back to work on her birthday. I mean, this is ridiculous, like impossible. Like you, I always take that day off. This is like I try to do as much celebration as possible on her birthday. We plan things and we leave room open for not doing these things, depending on how we feel. So we used to have Astembo is a lion. We used to have lions at our zoo, and unfortunately they died. And if you have a good zoo, it's gonna take a while to get new lions because it don't just get random ones, right? It's like part of a program. So they told us like, well, it'll take a few years for us to have lions again. So what we used to do was going to the zoo and going to see the lions every year. So now it's the second year that I have to find something else. Last year we had a butterfly house. So we went to the butterfly house and it was really sweet because we got to release a butterfly. So that was really nice to do. And this year I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, but I always make a cake on her birthday. We have birthday, we have candles, we have gifts. I always have a little gift for her, even if it's something small, even if it's, I just want to have a little something to give her. And yeah, so it's marking the time, the date. It's being like making sure it's meaningful, but we leave room. Like I remember the year I didn't know I was pregnant with Teo yet, but I just didn't know it. And we went to the zoo and to see the lion, and I felt like everybody was there with their family, like their big family. And I broke down like so hard. I was just like boo-hooing on the parking lot of the zoo, hating everything. Like I was just like, this is too hard. Everybody's there with their big family, and we've been trying for a year to have a baby. It's not coming. My daughter's dead. Like I this is impossible. And after the zoo, we went to pick up breakfast, I think, instead of going to a restaurant. It's like, let's just take carry out and go home. And instead of we had plans for other stuff, and we ended up watching Parks and Recs because that's a fun show and it's a comfort show. And that's what we did. I did make a cake for her, a simple cake, but it was just like I just needed that comfort and everything. And it was okay. It's like we do our best on that day. It's a hard day.
right, right. Oh my goodness, Marie. I want to just take a minute and say thank you for sharing and being so raw. This episode was not easy. I know for me, like I held back a couple of times with your story, as I always do, because it's just our stories are not easy to hear. So, and it's very raw and emotional, and especially this month. So, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Yeah, thank you for this space for like sharing this because I mean we're like right in it, right? I mean I know this episode's coming out on Monday on my birthday,
Yeah. Happy
but
birthday.
thank you. It's just like yeah, we like right in the thick of things, and I know for me personally, it's always days before is always harder than the day of.
Yeah. I think it's also good too to note that, for our listeners, this is really raw and, Marie-Laure is in the thick of the emotions right now. And I know for me, when I did my episode back in March, if you want to go back and listen to it, you can hear the emotions, in our voices. And I'm not in March, so that's why I can talk kind of okay right now. But yeah, go back to my episode. You can see, between us both, it is really hard to have these significant dates. It is hard to deal with these moments in life are difficult, especially because for us in grief, it is hard because we have expectations like you talked about, right? And so I do want to ask you, with everything you shared, what is the one taboo you want to break around significant dates?
I think like, yeah, what you said, being okay sharing with people why it's a difficult day, being okay with the myself included, being with mixed emotions, like being in this happy and sad.
Yeah, I agree.
It can linger. And I know I have a lot of work and therapy and stuff 6 years later that I still need to do and I'm working on. But yeah, like the trauma is still there. And sometimes it's trauma means flashbacks on significant dates. Yeah, uh,
It's hard.
it's hard.
It's hard. These dates are hard, okay, people?
Yeah, let us do what we need to do to make it through the day or the week or the month, like however long it takes us, whatever our process is. Like it's not just one day, it's all the days leading to it. It's all the apprehension of the dates. It can be a month, it can be whatever it is. Because when with diagnosis, it can take, for me, it was a matter, it's really 3 weeks. It's from July 20th to August 6th when I was diagnosed with peripartum cardiomyopathy. And
That's right.
this whole 3 weeks is like, there's Juliet's story, and then there's my health. And up to the moment she dies, and then it's me who's in danger and not knowing it. And the COVID unit and having your heart failure diagnosis. Like that's cardiac events are very traumatic in general.
And then sprinkle grief on top of that after losing your
Yeah.
daughter.
Right. Sprinkle some COVID units, isolation, and all of it.
Yes. On top of, loss, it's just, again, our stories go another layer, like really deep on the trauma for anyone who's been through the pandemic or COVID trauma, and what we're talking about. I do want to say thank you again, Marie. I know this is not easy. I know grief is not easy. I'm here for you. I know anyone who's gone through grief knows that they're not alone. You're not alone in this. And I do want to say that I want to do a call to action. Marie, I know you didn't talk about this, but I'm going to surprise everyone. I really want, in honor of Marie's birthday, we're going to donate to the St. Louis preeclampsia walk. So I'm going to link that. So in honor of Marie-Laure's birthday and in honor of sweet Juliet, please go ahead and donate at least $1. I'm asking $1, people. $1. Please go ahead and do this. I really think that, one thing that we can do as human beings is to be supportive of each other, whether we're going through good things or bad things, right, Marie? So I'm asking for $1 in honor of Marie-Laure and Juliet.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this because it helps research. It helps education program around preeclampsia. And I'm the chair of the St. Louis Promise Walk for preeclampsia. This is very dear to my heart because it's for Juliet. She pushed me to do that. Again, a sign. And it helps research. And with research, I was on baby aspirin for Theo and Alois, and my boys were here without complication. I didn't have preeclampsia, and I think I really like baby aspirin reduces risk of preeclampsia, and that was found thanks to research, and it creates education program. And I think most of us who had a maternal health diagnosis or maybe some diagnosis for the baby, like we're always like, I didn't know about this. Like most of us didn't know about our diagnosis. We didn't know it could be this bad. We didn't know it could happen this early, whatever it was. So these education programs are so important, and this really saved life. So thank you. And I appreciate like any amount. Just really appreciate even $1. Like it can make a change and it can save a life.
Please. Yes. And thank you for honoring us as moms, and thank you for honoring our sweet babies. And in honor of Juliet and Lily Joy, we're going to think about Juliet, especially coming up for July. Marie-Laure, we're thinking about you. This was a really raw and truly uncensored episode of the Uncensored Mothers podcast. We have some really big episodes coming up, and you guys don't want to miss this. And thank you for hanging with us and breaking the taboos against motherhood.
Thank you also.